Mirror Show. We are here today to look at Andrew Wilson, the ultimate debater in the world. Part 2. Does he love transhumanism as much as you? Today we're going to answer that question.
With the World War debates.
And did you notice he like increased the bass on this video like a lot on his voice? Like his voice is a lot more like bass sounding than usual. I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird.
Huh.
Or at least on my TV yesterday, I was like, on the TV yesterday, it sounded like really like he like. Actually, I saw another stream he did a few days ago. It sounded like he was like increased the bass on his voice, so it sounds like he's like Jack. He's trying to do like a Jack Nicholson radio show or something. It's pretty interesting. Good idea. I need to do that, by the way.
Yeah, like it's weird. Like I don't exactly have professional equipment, but yeah, his mic, he used to have a Shure mic and now he's got a different brand. So I mean, if you pay attention to the brands, it just might be a new mic that he has.
Yeah, I'm interested to know what mic these people use because it does seem there seems to be a lot of you can kind of tell like if someone's at a certain level, the microphone they use does tell you a little bit about like what level they're at for sure.
Right. It's
like
usually
Alex Jones used to use like this really super like $10,000 microphone or something, and then he started hiding it or something. But I don't know. You can kind of tell by that stuff.
Yeah, like where that shit's like floating and like hooked up to a thing, a stand, and you know when they have the whole studio set up, it's pretty noticeable. You know, versus just you know, like obviously, you know, my thing doesn't have a green screen. If anybody has a green screen and a mic setup and a studio setup, it's just kind of weird. You know, and then in order to like produce, you know, like daily jump cut videos of yourself explaining shit like in a studio with like perfect lighting and perfect equipment, like it takes a whole team of people, right, to produce
it's a team for sure. And I'll tell you, I've been looking into different business models for like video editing and stuff. Like these people are hiring like people all over the world to like, so they like upload to like what do you call it? Like this the
Fiverr. Yeah, they're paying them on Fiverr and stuff.
Yeah, and it's a whole. I mean, it's a whole industry, and it's kind of like a race to the bottom. So it's like what's weird is like what you notice is like there's very little original editing now. It's all like the same like jump flashes and the whole like thing, you know. And again, like my editing's not that good, but it's kind of weird that there's like very little variety in the style of editing, you know. And you know, it's all kind of like corporate. It's all become very corporate. But the funny part is like they're paying like people in third world, you know, Eastern Europe to like cut videos for them and stuff. And I don't know, it's pretty weird. It's a huge industry, and it costs a lot of money, honestly. Like just to do a video production that he does, like he's definitely investing like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So you know, it's a pretty big operation for sure. And same for Jay Dyer. Like Jay Dyer is putting out like a massive amount of clips right now. So, and a lot of it's pretty old material from like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So he's somebody's definitely getting paid a lot of money to like put out the amount of clips that these guys are putting out. What's up, Ro?
Yo. Be square peg round hole, right? What's her face? No, not square peg. Slow boy. Yeah. Putting in work, I guess.
I mean, it might be. I think it's bigger than that. I mean, I don't think one person could do the amount of stuff that they're doing because it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of time to edit videos. So
it does. Maybe he's got AI doing it.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think AI is that good yet. Like you because you still need to watch. You need a timestamp. You need a cut. You need to like remix. I mean, It takes a lot of effort to be. Even shorts are like not easy, to be honest with you. Like honestly, the stuff that I do is way easier than what these guys are doing for sure.
Yeah, and this
All right.
dude on the who's moderating is a huge it's like 800. He's almost got 1 million subscribers, as we pointed out. So how that happened was I guess he must be some sort of prize fighter or something like that. I don't know. Yes, I don't know. That's what the sort of icon seems to suggest, but
right? If a man puts on a wig and cuts off his penis and declares himself a woman,
it's so easy to become.
Wow. Well, that was weird.
Straight into the commercial. Right as soon as you say that, hey, come to Riverside where you can do your podcast.
Great way for me to come in here.
As soon as you cut your penis off, oh, then here's a great advertisement for
Classic Wilson for you.
Right. In case you cut your dick off, like Riverside.
The wood is dead.
If it's conceivably possible that you fashion a okay, not even gonna repeat what this is. Okay.
Right.
No, but that's not what I'm exactly talking about. What I'm talking about is the genetic engineering that we're going to be able to do here. Probably already they're experimenting with it, where you just take real gene therapies where you can actually grow a uterus in a male body. These things will take place here. They're going to take place in your lifetime.
First of all, I'm not willing to grant you the technological future that you foresee. There's no reason for me.
Right. And so it's interesting what he said because he's like, well, I understand that you have this definition of like a man and a woman, but I'm just dealing with what's possible, and if it doesn't fit your frame of morality, well then too bad, man. Now people are gonna do what's possible, right? But
he's definitely drank the Kool-Aid,
right? But it's like like just because you have a moral system that exists exclusively in your mind they use to dictate your personal actions, what does that do for society? Not a whole lot. Right now, I don't know.
To grant this to you for the purpose of this debate, especially.
You don't have to grant it to him. They're gonna do it. I don't grant you your technological utopia, even though it's gonna happen. And they're like, what? Like, who cares if you don't grant it? Like,
especially considering the fact of how many times there's been supposed technocratic revolutions in technology coming, and they were big flops. Right now, I should be in a flying car with all digital currency, and my Bitcoin should be worth $1 billion. But
there's a unique argument against transhumanism, right? Why don't we live in the Jetsons world right now? If transhumanism is true, then where's all the technological advancement? Right. I guess that is a weird, unique argument against transhumanism.
I mean, some could say that a lot of it's being gatekept right now, like hard.
Right. But generally, I think he's right that most of the things that transhumanists offer are like science fiction, or most governments or societies wouldn't accept them. And all that type of stuff. They seem sort of delusional in their approach. They don't.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
I was just chuckling to myself that Andrew's on the side on the against transgender transhumanism in this debate.
Yeah, but it's like, what is his argument against it? Right? Because he's kind of like saying, well, all you need for transhumanism to work is a Christian morality. And transhumanism only gives us the is, it doesn't give us the ought. You need to borrow that from a Christian worldview. And seems like he's upselling Christianity to transhumanists. Right? It's kind of like a
weird
debate.
It's again, he's always... It always seems like he's trying to always paint the picture that he's like the more morally superior, or he has the moral high ground, when literally it's the opposite. He's literally like kowtowing to the other side of the argument,
Right.
in a really goofy way.
Hey, Machine, I have a video I want to show you really quick. I know this is a little bit off topic, but maybe not that much off topic. I'll put in the private chat. You did a good job too. Yeah, let me throw this video in the back. I know you specifically will get a kick out of it. Hold on, let me show you.
Okay.
Guess
you can
what?
be. There are flying
It's not.
cars and there's digital currencies that can buy you anything these days.
No, here's the truth. The truth is that these technologies are not so nearly advanced as we've been led to believe. We don't have self-driving vehicles because we can't make machines smart enough to self-drive. They can't make decisions.
Well, that's actually not true. I mean, I could tell you this, like in San Francisco, the Waymos are driving way better than people right now. So, I mean, are there some kinks to work out? Yes, but it is working. And I'll be honest with you, I was the last person to believe that they could actually do self-driving cars, but it is happening. So, I mean, you know,
He's
I mean, I'm
got
sorry to tell
sort of the right approach, but he's got the wrong example, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, look, I'm not sitting here saying that like it's a good thing, but it is occurring, right? So it's like,
right,
you know, it's like and it's to the point where, to be honest with you, like, you know, if they made it more the norm, I would not want to own a car anymore because it's a fucking burden owning a car at this point, you know. At least in California, I mean, I guess if you live in the rural area, then yeah, like you need a car because you can't get around. But the problem is, like, if you look at the public transportation in this country, like it fucking sucks compared to like a lot of places. So it's like they can't do public transportation right. So now they're going to do like, you know, millions of self-driving cars, and we're supposed to trust that that's going to work out. Where like one thing you notice is like shared property usually doesn't work too well. You know what I mean? Like, at least in our country, maybe in other places it does, but if there's something that's shared, nobody wants responsibility to take care of it, generally speaking, right? Like even and you know, maybe the government will try to do it, but I don't know. I think it's just a weird concept. So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of like details they're skipping over. So this is a news story about a company called Soylent, and I thought you might find this a little bit interesting.
That followed, the company has since faced multi-million-dollar losses, rumors of toxic company culture, and a revolving door of C-suites. Now, Silicon Valley's drink of choice is in a fight for financial survival. Founded by software programmer Rob Reinhart, the first iteration of Soylent was developed in San Francisco in 2013. The chemical cocktail, which tasted like a bland, unsweetened cake batter, allowed him and other ambitious founders throughout the Bay Area to grind without interruption. To these gleeful workaholics, food was tyrannical.
His name was Rob Reinhardt. Isn't that the guy that just died? No, weird.
That's Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner. Yeah, but that's another weird story. That's another weird story too, though. But they're probably related or something. I mean, let's be honest.
Burdensome and boring. Soylent, on the other hand, was efficient, affordable, and democratic, and could free them from culinary oppression. The 24-year-old electrical engineering grad who named his product after the 1973 science fiction thriller Soylent Green wanted to prove that you no longer needed food to live. Instead, you could live off of a liquid concoction of carbs, amino acids, and vitamins. At first, even he was skeptical that he'd be able to survive off of his own product for months at a time. However, in an interview with Inc. magazine in 2013, he said, "I felt fantastic. I felt euphoric. I felt full of energy." Shortly after its development, Soylent received tens of thousands of orders and $1 million in funding. And suddenly, this young startup founder with no background in food science was poised to become a millionaire, outlets reported. But problems began to arise in 2016 when a small but vocal group of consumers became violently ill after consuming Soylent's food bars, experiencing anything from nausea to diarrhea. The company, which had already reportedly been experiencing major setbacks, issued a recall. In 2017, Reinhardt stepped down as CEO. By this time, the fledgling startup grew into a $75 million company, as reported by Business Insider. But about a year after aggressively expanding to retail stores, the succeeding CEO also stepped down, and online rumors swirled about toxic
name is
company
Crowley.
culture. And despite these widely publicized issues, the current CEO of Soylent's parent company is confident that the product's loyal consumer base, along with its taste and swallowability, will set it up for success within the next 2 years. At its core, Soylent feels like an extension of capitalism and a byproduct of one of Silicon Valley's most harmful ideologies, that we ought to forego the human experience in favor of productivity.
Damn.
Swallowability just sounds so wrong.
Yes. And it's also kind of weird. It's like just throwing like a jab at capitalism. Like, this is capitalism. And I agree with the whole, like, it's kind of a toxic work culture. I mean, it's an extremely toxic work culture. So it's like, let's grind, you know, like from the age of like 12 to 35.
At least a book title. There's a book title called Toxic Sludge is Good for You. I haven't read it yet, but that sounds like this is an example of such a thing.
Sounds pretty based. Louis, come back.
Yeah, and this whole thing, like, I mean, it's just bad marketing to name your company after a horror movie where the drink is made of fucking humans. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what was he thinking? Like,
yeah, that was like major fail.
Worst
fail on that one.
Worst marketing of all time. And then there's a major L for transhumanism. And then
Goyland Green might be the next move. Come on.
Right. And then I think SF Gate is like QAnon. They used to push QAnon, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of weird. By the way, I just saw somebody wearing that shirt, so I'm pretty sure they're like a reporter. I saw them an hour ago, so that was pretty weird.
That's weird. Being gang stalked like by them now, just because you clicked on an Instagram video.
Well, luckily, I was the one who came in after them, so if anything, it looks like I'm stalking them. So.
Oh.
Just the ingredients of that stuff doesn't even sound appealing.
Right.
It's like some carbs, amino acids, and whatever else.
Like soy got bad press too. So like maybe they should have changed the name and the ingredients. That's what I would suggest. You know, just totally rebrand.
Like who knows what kind of nano shit is in that stuff.
Right.
The way that they should. They can't tell whether or not they should swerve left at the right time.
I just want to say, do you think that a male within a 100-year time frame will be able to grow a uterus in themselves and give birth? Do you think that will scientifically happen?
I think that you may be able to make genetic modifications to a person where they can have a uterus inside of them, but that doesn't mean that they'll be able to birth children because of it. It will end up being something more akin to a cosmetic defect, or a cosmetic thing. For instance, in nature itself, there are things called chimeras, human beings who are chimeras. Chimera being a person who has two primary sex organs, male and female sex organs. Interestingly enough, though, the reason we know sex is a binary biologically is because of chimeras.
What the hell are you talking about?
Only one of those reproductive pathways is ever actually viable, meaning a chimera can't have sex with themselves, impregnate themselves, and have children with themselves.
Yeah, like a chimera, like that's pretty medieval. Like
it's called hermaphrodite or something like that. It's not
right.
I'm surprised he didn't say hermaphrodite.
Right, he called them chimeras, which is kind of like an abomination or something.
Yeah, that sounds like something like Alex Jones was talking about. Like they got alien human chimeras on the labs.
They're turning the chimeras gay.
It's not possible to do.
You're bringing up animals in the 21st century.
No, I'm talking about
like
humans.
It doesn't even work.
That's humans. Human chimeras. So the thing is like biologically, only one reproductive pathway is viable. And that's with males who have uteruses. This idea, so we have biological anomalies we can point to right now where just through freak accidents of biology, we have seen these things occur and they're not reproductively viable. There's no reason for me to assume that technologically we're going to be so advanced that men are going to be able to grow uteruses and have children.
We're coming to an age where we're going to print.
His response to transhumanism is, "Oh, come on, that's not really happening, is it?" That's his whole like, this is a boomer. This is a total boomer response.
Out anything and anyone and any type of thing we want. I mean, literally, probably within 20 or 30 years. So we're definitely going to be able to print out something that combines anything and everything. And that's just the fact that everybody that's in genetic editing just sort of has to accept is that we're coming to an age when you and I will be able to shift things probably within a 24-hour period, maybe within a 2-minute period. And that's because of drugs, DNA, nanotechnology, whatever it is. And I think Christians are going to have to say, okay, you spoke about this in your intro, like the hybrid and zombieism. Okay, this is true. I get it. It has a real negative connotation, but it is coming. I mean, the idea that I can chop off an arm and grow another arm is literally right around the corner. They're already doing it now with
No, it's not.
We're going to grow a second brain, a second head. It's going to be wild.
You know what's really funny
he's
about
not
this
wrong.
entire
Bob Becker already proved that, like, back in the 80s with, like, other animals, so
I mean, it's weird.
Already...
Like this retard never heard of, like, cloning, like, stem cells, like, what the fuck? Like, he's just never heard of any of this. It's like, no, that's not even close to happening, he said. Like, what? Like, what world is he living in? And he's a guy who's a robotics engineer, and he's this dumb about the modern state of technology. It's wild.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, a little fishy. He needs to read The Body Electric by Robert Becker. I forget the second author, but it's a dual author book. But Becker's the scientist in the book. I think the other guy's just like the writer or something. I forget. Anyways.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Ideology. I've heard you make these claims on other shows as well. Then I go and look into them. Right? I go and I actually look into the claims. For instance, regrowth of limbs. You know what the scientific consensus is on the time frame for regrowth of limbs? Somewhere around 400 years at current state. Right?
You can't be serious.
Scientific consensus.
Right.
Lulz.
AI is about to be super intelligence in 18 months.
Yeah, see, this is another
going to be able to figure out everything very quickly. 18 months.
This is another fun claim. I want to tell you that 18 months ago, this claim was being made. Did you know that?
That is actually a true fact that that Wilson's saying is that they keep pushing back the singularity. So that is a thing that.
Yeah, what did Schmidt say? 6 years or something from like 2 years ago? I forget.
Right.
That, and by the way, 18 months before that, the same claim was being made. And you know who was making it? You, sir. You, sir.
I can't believe you're
18 months ago. Hang on, sir. I want to point this out, right? Maybe I can grab the clip.
Sir.
18 months ago, you were on a show saying in 18 months, AI is going to take over the world, essentially. Same thing you're claiming right now. You were claiming the same thing 18 months ago.
I didn't say it's going to take over the world.
Hang on, sir, hang on. The same claim you just made that AI is going to be so advanced it's going to be able to take over all aspects of life. We're only 18 months away. You said it 18 months ago, right? And so here we are, 18 months later.
I didn't say that. I probably said there would be AGI. And what happened last week? Japan announced that they had already achieved AGI. And now I'm saying within 18 months, we'll probably start reaching levels of early superintelligence, maybe 24 months. And I got to be honest, I'm not saying this because I just say it. I'm saying this because I met the OpenAI engineers who pulled me in a corner and were like, listen, we are much closer. We're starting to buy bunkers. We're starting to do things because we're afraid ourselves.
He's got the lowdown.
The claim that I made, I'm not.
Right.
And OpenAI is bringing them to a corner and telling them the real shit. Apparently,
Right. Sounds like people who are trying to sell you a bridge. Honestly, they pulled you in a corner. They said, "Listen, we're secretly buying bunkers because this thing that we're developing is so powerful. You might want to get in now before it's too late." I mean, that's. I mean,
what it seems to amount to is just kind of an elaborate marketing scheme to
right.
have
Exactly.
this useful idiot just make the points for them.
Right. Right. Exactly. He's
So invest in OpenAI right now before while you still can.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, transhumanists are good advertisers for the technophiles, but they're not actually, doing much else other than, just sloganeering.
Not sure which one it was about AGI, which is the equivalent of artificial intelligence to humans. And yes, that has been reached in the last few months, no matter how.
Yeah, I'm aware of the distinction between true artificial intelligence and AGI. The idea here is you have enough open nodes that you can't tell the difference, right? It basically replicates, for all intents and purposes, what you would consider artificial intelligence to be. I get that. By the way, we're not there either. And the computing power that would be required to utilize AGI right now, currently, the scientific consensus is there's not enough energy on planet Earth to hold enough nodes in order to have AGI replicate the same intelligence as a human being with all the nodes which would be required. And so the thing is like this is
yeah, we kind of need Buddha on deck to like get in on this. I'm too unfamiliar with the actual technical apparatus of what's being developed here to actually comment on whether this is possible or not. But yeah. I do know this, that I have heard Buddha say that when it goes to generate the image, they still don't know exactly what it does to get the image, right? So, scientists still kind of, even a simple process like generating an image could be fairly unexplainable, and right, by like scientific means and all that stuff, because, there's no reason why it has to generate things in a highly specific way, right? And we could go back to different, robots dream of electric sheep. I mean, well, the AI things, they've been caught like hallucinating and dreaming and making visuals when they're not on and stuff. Sometimes, and they've taken a look at some of these images and they look really weird. All right. So yeah.
Mental masturbation futurism. The idea
Andrew,
here, hang on,
what you're saying is a lie. It's just not true.
It is true.
We have plenty enough energy for multiple AGIs. I mean, this is crazy. We have enough for a million AGIs on planet Earth. There's plenty enough power.
No. That's not what I said.
Andrew, they're working on AGI in Microsoft and Google and OpenAI. There's thousands of them.
To have an AGI which would replicate what we would consider to be artificial intelligence. That's a different claim than having AGI, which is just having X amount of no data packets that it can reference. Meaning, this is old ladder logic computing, by the way. There's nothing new under the sun here. Old ladder logic computing just works like this. Function A happens, you divert to function B. Function B happens, you divert to function C. AGI is putting that on a grander scale of nodes. It's just saying, hey, function A happens here, you divert to C. And if you add enough of those, it would make the appearance that like a robotic arm is not distinct from a human arm because it seems to function exactly the same way. The problem is once you try to move that into artificial intelligence or on par with that, that's where we have energy issues. Not only that, let me point this out. All of this stuff, this futurism that you're talking about right now, does not contend in any way, shape, or form, even if the technology was there, for how it would make the United States better. I've seen what technocrats do with this stuff.
Andrew, you're just great. Listen, Andrew, I'm the expert on this. If we talk politics, I think I listen to.
He's the expert. What's his credentials again?
Right.
I don't know this guy.
I don't know. From what I know, like he's a politician and a science and tech promoter. I don't know.
I mean, he looks like a guy in a suit. I mean,
yeah, he worked for National Geographic as a reporter.
Okay.
So I'm not seeing anything that
So
he
like a
presented.
science promoter is the expert, apparently. I guess.
Right. It's like, dude, sit down, dude. You're no better than Bill Nye the Science Guy or fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson. Right?
Yeah,
It's just that,
basically.
yeah, it's just that you're more into science fiction and shit than they are. Literally, like that's all it is. Right. And then secondly, like, what's this idiot just say? He just fucking said that science and technology aren't gonna benefit the United States, even though that it's what their entire defense system is based on. Like, I don't even understand. Right? Like that statement as a whole is just literally
Sad
retarded.
trombone.
Like, what does that even mean? Like, what? Like, technology is literally the objective factor of power. Like, how is that not the military arm of strength, and how is not cyber warfare the next extension of that, and us mastering technology being the number one way that we can defend our nation? I just don't understand, like, what the fuck he's talking about. Like, does he live in the real world? Like, how is that not one of the primary means of defense? Right? Like, it's just what?
And like BB said, cyber is the real domain of power.
Right. Yeah, this idiot saying, "Oh, well, what is all this transhumanist stuff going to do to benefit us in terms of the United States?" Like, it's their entire sales pitch is that we're going to be living in this great fucking future. Like, that's why they're developing all these cities and all smart cities and all this stuff. This is why people allow them to do this shit. Neuralink and now you got Elon Musk standing behind the president and shit. Oh yeah, it's just all. Oh yeah, you just have a transhumanist that's running part of the government for a while, and then they have a fake and gay falling out with each other. That's just yeah, just sweep that under the rug. Right? Like, what are you talking about, dude? The Palantirs and the Elon Musk and all these people, they've never been more powerful, and it's literally the top aspect of defense and warfare. And he's saying, "Oh, what does all this stuff benefit us?" What are you talking about? Thiel's a transhumanist. Musk is a transhumanist. They're way more closer to the government than you are, and they literally have their, they're literally colluding with, feds and government actors. And we're like, what are you talking about? We're like, these people have never been more powerful. And yeah, this idiot wants to say, "Oh, what does all this stuff have to do with it?" What? What the fuck are you talking about, man? You want to wake the fuck up? Like,
from your debates, you actually know a lot more about the Constitution than me and this, that. But this is my field. These are the people that I deal with in Silicon
What did I get
Valley.
wrong about AGI?
I'm telling you, you're wrong. It's like,
well, what did I get wrong about AGI specifically?
And I would, if I was going to give one piece of advice to a lot of your people, I'd say start buying land, start buying cabins in the woods, because this thing is about to get crazy really quickly. And let me just say also that this is one of the problems with transhumanism right now, is we've all been gung-ho on AI only to pull back.
Right. Like, the irony of it all. You support transhumanism because AI is going to get out of control and you're going to have to buy a cabin in the woods? What the fuck?
It's like, it's going to get crazy. So try to be like Uncle Teddy and just, peace out.
Right. It's like, yeah, like, you mean the solution is to do what Uncle Teddy did and just get a cabin? Like, what? I'm a little confused here, sir. I've lost the plot, or maybe you have. Like, what?
About 18 or 24 months ago and say, wait a sec, AI is not human beings becoming transhuman. AI is a totally different entity. So this is where transhumanism and maybe some of your framework we can discuss again has gone off the rails, because all of a sudden, I don't care. I don't want an AI to become a super intelligence. That doesn't help me or my family or my kids or my wife at all.
What did I actually get wrong about AGI and how it functions? Did I get some?
Yeah, right. He wants the AI to be to boost human intelligence. So he wants the AI to be combined with the humans as soon as possible. So what he wants is actually a lot worse than developing AI as some type of tool that may or may not go outside of human control. I mean, right? Which, if there's a probability that it might, then they should be stopped from developing it whatsoever. I think that's fair enough to say. But like, yeah, so I just don't see the rationality in any of it, honestly.
Something wrong there.
Like,
I'm willing to be corrected on it, but I don't think
it wouldn't benefit him or his family, or it's like, is he like doing a 180?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
This guy is goofy.
Right. It's like, then why do you support the development of AI? Or why are you saying it's going to come about in 18 months and it might change everything? Like, what? You just literally said that 15 minutes ago. So what are you talking about, dude? Like, this guy's all over the place. Right? Yeah, I could tell he has zero expertise. He's just a science promoter. Like, he's just as delusional as any of these guys, honestly. And this is the big guy they got to debate.
I did. I think I'm very
it's first
close
off,
to
it's
what it
totally
is.
contentious whether this A to B to C can't actually create a super intelligence.
Yeah, but it
maybe
does
there's just
function
enough
that way.
information that it can do.
Yes.
I'm not saying that is there are other alternatives that are saying that lateral thinking has to be something different. But I'm pointing out that that's definitely open debate for all the philosophers.
So I did get that
Oxford.
right. I did get that right for what AGI actually, in fact, is, right? I was not inaccurate there.
You didn't get it right. We're not sure yet 100% how to get to superintelligence. We've already achieved AGI through the ABCD because our brains work that way. The question is, how can we take AGI and go beyond what we are? We want something super intelligent. And that's what they're working on right now. But I got to be honest, there's at least 3 different methodologies from AI engineers that seem to say we can scale to superintelligence.
Yeah, I've heard the theories there, but again, what I'm doing, unless you, when I gave you the function, the idea of having like nodes, and then these nodes have X amount of functions, which they can defer to X behavior. In this case, let's just call it behavior. It's not actually that, but behavior A, behavior B, behavior C, behavior D, function A, B, C, D, right? In a ladder logic type of way. Same way a signal light works, right? Timer hits this, it hits the next function, it moves over to yellow. It hits the next function, it moves over to red. If you had enough of these inside of a web, it would be indistinguishable.
Time is an art. The pause before.
Whoa, what a weird. It's literally the lady from fucking X-Files, isn't it?
Or a word.
Oh no, wait. It's just no. It just looks like her.
No.
From how an artificial intelligence would.
I was like, are we in the fucking? it's like
Twilight Zone.
I know, yeah.
Would actually function in real time. What am I getting wrong there? That is what AGI is it not?
It is indeed, but the question I was bringing up is how do we get to superintelligence? And that's what they're working on right now. And I think if you take the capacity of this A to B kind of logic you've taken, that's sort of how our brains work. That's how we're coming up with memories. You and I are having this conversation right now. But the problem is really scaling it upwards. That's what's more controversial. But like I said, there are 3 methodologies. People are working, and I got to say, there are trillions of dollars going into developing this. And I'm not saying I'm even necessarily for it, because I am a little bit afraid of AI superintelligence.
Yeah, I heard it. The
but we're further advanced than I think you can give credit for.
I don't. Well, here's the thing, right? I've been hearing this for years. The idea of a technological panic, sir, is nothing new. You remember Y2K? That was another form of technological panic. The computers were going to reset. We needed to make the Y2K compliant software immediately or else. And what was that in actuality? It was a bunch of futurists who were...
Yeah, this is what NeuroJack was saying yesterday about the script reading part. Now it looks like he's moving on to a different topic. He's reading a script. He's like very elegantly laying out how this new topic is going to take shape. He's half agreeing with the opponent to get him excited for the discussion and saying, well, technological panic never solves it. It's like...
He's definitely reading something.
Yeah, technological panic. Dude, you're totally 100% controlled by technology. Like, without technology, you'd literally be a fucking, like literally like you and your family and everyone around you, right, would be in a completely different situation, right, had it not been for technology. But he's all like, oh, yeah, technological panic. And, like, this isn't like a main issue. Like, what? It's like, dude, like everything you have, is furnished by technological means that you cannot procure for yourself by experts that you will never meet. Like what? Like what part of that is not important for you, man? Oh, it's just technological panic. What? Like, you better start getting paranoid, buddy. You're a fucking, you're up shit's creek without a paddle. And you think just because you don't believe in transhumanism, it's going to save you.
For scamming massive corporations into fixing problems which didn't even actually exist. The thing is that I hear this all the time. I hear that there's the next futuristic problem based on technology that needs to be solved immediately. It has to be because it's right around the corner. When in fact, the doomsday scenario is not right around the corner, and it's usually promoted by people, right, who have something to gain by it, by ringing the alarm.
Look at this. This is a very weird way to argue against transhumanism. He's saying that there's no problem with technology, so technology isn't going to save us, so we don't need to develop new technologies for the technological problems that exist today because there's no point. Right, so the state of technology that we're in today is perfectly liberating enough to not worry about any fixes that might arrive in the future due to transhumanism. Like, what? That is the weakest argument against people who are literally going to go ahead and develop whatever they want, right? And once you open Pandora's box, you can't close it, and all that, so on and so forth, right? To just say, like, to just hand wave, right? I mean, you know, literally just, you know, homicidal, you know, suicidal, all of that stuff. I mean, you know, honestly, I mean,
bell that, hey, right around the corner, this catastrophe is right there, when in fact it's not. I have seen no great evidence that artificial intelligence we're anywhere near actual AI. Only theories that AGI could possibly or potentially replicate what artificial intelligence would be. But none of that, even if I concede all of this point that AI is right around the corner, right? Inside of the United States, how would it be helpful for us to abandon the Christian framework for a transhumanist one in order to combat that? How?
Well, let me just say that, like, you can already go out and get softwares that would...
What? I'm going to go back and try to listen to that again. I don't even understand what point was just made.
Would be. But none of that, even if I concede all of this point that AI is right around the corner, right? Inside of the United States, how would it be helpful for us to abandon the Christian framework for a transhumanist one in order to combat that? How?
Well, let me just say that, like, you can already go out and get softwares that would...
So his problem is not with transhumanism, it's with abandoning the Christian ethical system. Right? So as long as we maintain our Christian ethical system, it doesn't matter if we're transhumanists. Or it doesn't matter if transhumanism is happening, I guess. What? Huh?
Literally be answering your questions almost identically as you are now, and me doing that. And we actually don't even have to be in here in person. But the point is that the technology is radically expanding. And I think I just want to give your viewers my perspective, which is like, it's a lot faster, coming faster than most people say. But listen.
Okay, just what am I looking at? This is supposed to be a Nike ad? Like, what? This seems demonic. Like,
yeah, I went into a Nike store the other day, and they had someone missing a leg, like, you know, like one of those like little like springs or whatever, like as their like running model or something. I was like, it's pretty interesting.
It's pretty dark, yeah. But yeah, look at this. They got spikes coming out of this thing. Looks like a Cenobite. Like, what the fuck is this? Like,
well, maybe Hellraiser is dropping a new line of basketball shoes or something.
And two red horn-like things protruding from the helmet. I mean, am I the only one seeing this? This is really strange.
Why does this guy even have a helmet?
Well, it's a girl because I can see breasts, so I don't know. I'm really confused because it does look sort of androgynous. So yeah, that was definitely a Baphomet. And here is a satanic star. It's literally a 5-pointed star right after that. After you see a horn. So there's a horned figure and then a 5-pointed star. I mean, I'm not making this up. This is literally a commercial that's on right now. What the fuck? Oh. And this Cenobite-like figure appears, and they've all got black and white on, which is not. Oh, and now all this. this looks like a cult. Like, why are they all wearing red and black and sitting on a fucking 5-pointed star? Can anybody answer me that question? Like, all right, Nike, thanks for the literal satanic ritual. All right, yeah, shop Nike, folks. There it is. Yeah, shop Nike.
Ooh, and there's like an all-seeing eye there.
Oh, techno magic Satanism. Yeah, great.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of Tim Hortons with delightful holiday drinks and festive baked goods. Because after a year of giving, it's time you gift you. Only at your...
I actually like that one. I like the way she looks. It is what it is.
I got to be honest. This is where I worry about my own personal philosophy. Transhumanism has taken us to the next level where we are able to create AI. But if it dooms humanity and does something like, because there is a very real possibility there could be a Terminator scenario. And if humans don't survive, then obviously transhumanism and my ideology and scientific method, whatnot, have failed. And yours would have been more successful. Yours might be a safer bet right now, because I don't think many Christians would want to give birth to artificial intelligence, especially not a super intelligence.
What a horrible confession.
I
like, he just
don't think that would... Neither are the quote-unquote safer bet. Both end in most of humanity being annihilated.
Right.
So it's like, well, you messed up there, buddy.
Yeah, I don't think he really understands like the opposing position. It's not like, oh yeah, everybody just like believe in Jesus, you know, right? Like, okay, it's a lot more complex than that, buddy.
Because it just doesn't fit with our framework. That said,
but
if it does work in our favor, we might have this great utopia, get off planet, be able to cure cancer, and become superhumans.
Utopium.
And that's really the goal of a lot of transhumanists. But again, it's a way.
Yeah, he's smoking that utopium.
I told you he's drinking the Kool-Aid. This is like the transhumanist Pascal's wager version going on here.
Right, it's like, okay, like it's like 50-50. We either destroy ourselves or, you know,
or we get, you know, utopian, no free of cancer and space communism and all that.
Yeah, like, wow, quite a gambit, I would say.
It's a bet, and we don't know.
But do you see how
whether it's going to turn out good or not.
Do you see how, interestingly enough, when push comes to shove?
Good Lord, man! This
Literally, the next second he says wager.
Yeah, it's not thinking. Well, that's the name of his book, The Transhumanist Wager.
Oh, so okay, all right, fair enough.
I was like, maybe he is doing the. Maybe this is the wager. Who knows?
It has to be. I mean,
it's like, what? Like, that sounds like you know, like shit sandwich versus turd bagel. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, that's like, gotta be a T-shirt, bro. Shit sandwich versus turd bagel.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
You divert to my ethical worldview and not me yours. The idea here is...
Well, it could be Buddhism, it could be Hinduism, it could be Islam. I mean, it could be any view.
Hang on, but it's not those views. It's actually a deference to Christian ethics. Ethics.
I would defer to Buddhism just personally.
Those are the ethics which you were raised with, and this and that, right? And there's things about Buddhism. There's things about Buddhism you probably wouldn't like as much as Christianity. But that aside, leaving that aside,
nihilism is where I would end up with. But hang on, that's how it is.
If it's the case that Terminators, let's say, due to transhumanists, Terminators did come around. We had a Sarah Connor type situation, absent the time travel. Okay, no time travel, just warbot machines who came in and decided to repurpose us by, against our will, cutting our skulls open and putting our brains in these machines, which can then live forever, right? It's really interesting to me because that would be a transhumanist future, 100% transhumanist future. But it's a future you seem to want to avoid, and I don't understand why. It gives you everything that you want. Technology then removes the idea of death. It is now gone. And yet somehow you still prefer my framework that this needs to be stopped. Hang on, that this needs to be stopped by any means necessary. Even
Yeah, he got him there, but the fact is that he doesn't have to appeal to Christian ethics to get himself there. Like he said, he could just appeal to Buddhism and say, well, that's going to break the cycle of reincarnation. You won't be able to reach nirvana, right? Or break the cycle of reincarnation if you go into the pod. So
I'm kind of wondering if Wilson paid this guy just to debate, because this is just so goofy.
Yeah. Neuro, were you going to finally say something? Yeah.
Well, it's interesting what he's saying here, because it's like, okay, it seems like he's saying, I'm trying to think of how to put it. He's saying like, well, you have a problem with this transhumanist future because you're lacking the choice to do it in the way that you want to do it. But isn't that kind of obfuscating that any transhumanist future, we don't really have a choice? Like, that's kind of what you were arguing to him. Like you said, like, do you have the choice to like not use a cell phone and not let your kids use a cell phone? Or is that like, something that you're not willing to admit? And he basically wasn't willing to admit that he doesn't really have a choice, right? And so now you extrapolate that out into his argument. It's like, well, aren't we kind of living in a transhumanist future now? Right? Like, because we lack choice. That, see what I mean? Like, it's kind of like weird that he's like making this extreme example about choice or free will, right? Because what's the deciding factor of whether or not this guy wants to accept what he's saying or not? It's like, well, if the machine comes and rips our brain out and puts it into a machine against our will, well, that's a bad version of transhumanism. But it's like, already we have these cell phones and we don't really have a choice, much of a choice at least, as to whether or not, we should use it or not. So I'm just saying, like, I think it's a bizarre road to go down.
His assumption is that we need to get to transhumanism to not be in control of technology, which is false. Right? Like, most people are already technological slaves, right? They don't decide how they use technology, right? It's integrated into the system, right? So it's basically, technology operates the way it does, right? Because it's complex systems, right? That are used to develop the technology, right? So it's somewhat outside of human control, right? In the way it's being developed, right? So he's not willing to admit that, right? So he thinks that we can go to this future, right? But in other words, it then stands to reason why, if he thinks we're totally in control of the technology, right? Why is he afraid of some Terminator scenario? Because that could never even happen, right? Like, he shouldn't fear it at all, right? So this is the thing. He's previously said he's totally in control of the technology. It's totally dependent on human use and the way humans use it, right? So this scenario could never really come about, right? And he doesn't believe that the hell will prevail against the doors of the church and all this stuff. So it doesn't matter, right? So why are you worried? Why are you sweating it, bro? It's a really good question, right? Compare this debate to the debate he had with me. I mean, it's a slam dunk. I mean, this guy does not. He doesn't know where he stands on this technology issue. It's total garbage.
And though it meets all of the conditionals of your framework, you have now, sir, under this Terminator-like apocalypse where they cut your brain out and put it in a machine, have achieved the very thing you want, and yet you still don't seem to want it. It's very strange to me.
Listen, if that machine is me, that doesn't want to die, that
winter storms flood basements. Take action before the storm breaks. Have you noticed cracks, leaks, or that musty scent? When did you last get your annual foundation inspection?
Okay, it's an interesting company. Eerie Home. All right.
Loves life, loves his family, loves humanity, has mammalian instincts, then I would take that machine. But if it is that machine, it's not going to end up.
We're supposed to transcend those things.
Humanity.
What do you mean? We're supposed to transcend the mammalian instincts. We're supposed to transcend humanity.
I've never said transhumanism wants to transcend mammalian instincts. Absolutely not. I don't want to transcend a lot of the things that I have evolved with over millions of years.
Why do you want to keep your humanity? So you want to keep your humanity intact?
Yeah.
he's not getting the humanism part, I guess. So he's sort of strawmanning his position by saying he doesn't want to develop or improve humanity. Well, he kind of said that in his intro, right? So no, if it leads to human beings becoming totally enslaved by machines, right? He doesn't even support that kind of future. So Wilson's totally strawmanning his position, right? And then what this great Christian ethics that he's describing, that he's using to justify the fact that he doesn't want it to happen, honestly, it remains to be seen. I mean, it's like, what are you talking about? The guy said he's a fucking Buddhist. So what are you talking about?
Yes. I certainly don't want to ever forget about my family. I mean, maybe there are some transhumanists out there who are like these crazy wackos that just want to become super godlike or whatever. But I actually want to take all my history with me and just become this person that can live indefinitely, take my family with me, see what's in the universe out there, and do have this amazing epic journey of exploration.
That's not transcending your humanity. It seems that your ethical system is demanding that humanity stay intact. When you talk about things like mammalian instincts, yeah,
the best parts of humanity should be kept.
Let me at least respond. The best parts by whose metric? These are arbitrary metrics that you came up with. What makes them the
that is a true fact, right? The best parts, according to who? Like, who's going to be selecting the best parts of the human? Like, what are the best parts? And you think that we're going to be able to choose, we're going to have a choice what parts are improved by technology and what parts are not improved by the technology? Like, we don't collectivize the benefits of the harm.
And who's allowed to define the words like improve when it comes to our biology or our life well-being or whatever, our health, what's the definition of health, right? Like, this is the thing is, like, even within bioethics and all these things, like, defining a term like health is actually virtually impossible, right? Like, or well-being, right? So, like, they use these terms, but everybody can define what's the best, version of health for them. Some people would say euthanasia is health, right? I mean, so that's the thing is, like, who's going to decide what that looks like, so, and do you even have the ability to decide, right? So.
Right. So, I mean, he's making a good point here. It's like, who decides what's the best part of the human? Right now, obviously, in Christianity, they have an answer for that, right? So,
best just because you like them. The thing is that
and just because an individual likes them.
Yes. So the thing is that if individuals didn't like them, let's say, and they said, we're gonna cut your brain open and put it in a machine, whether you like it or not. You have now achieved your goal of immortality. You have transcended your mammalian instincts. You've transcended your very humanity, the very thing that you claimed, which was using technology for immortality. Definitionally, this is what you want.
This is like the oil barrel
to
thing
humanity.
You're talking about sort of slavery. If I'm not in charge of it, if I'm not happy with what's happening with my transhuman evolution, then it doesn't work for me. Transhumanism is something that re-emphasizes my love of life. If I can't re-emphasize my love of life, then I don't want the philosophy.
Do you see here then, you're not actually trying to transcend humanity at all. What you're trying to do instead is you have like an oppositional worldview here. It's very bizarre. On the one hand, you say that you're willing to transcend all of the human elements for the purpose of immortality. And yet, when the conditional is presented, hey, this could actually happen. Let's say that we grant this transhumanist future where the Terminators cut your brain out and just put it in a Terminator. You still think like you still talk like you still do all of those things. But the things that made you human, those mammalian instincts, these various things that you are attached to emotionally, those are gone, right? You say, no, I don't.
That's why the Terminator thing is like fake and gay. It's like, we're in the Matrix. We're not in the Terminator, man. You need to upgrade the metaphor, right? We're living in a system, right? That, it controls what we see, eat, hear, and think, right? So, just like your fake and gay shill political ideology that you've been totally psyoped into believing, right? It's like, it's obvious. Right, you would be nothing without these technological means. Right now, you're acting like, oh, what if? Well, you can't face the reality that's all around you. This is a major problem.
want to detach from these things. The very core things that ontologically make us human, I don't want to detach from. That is giving us great evidence here that the Christian...
Right, but as if Christianity is going to prevent you from, letting go of something, right, that's going to be taken away from you by machines that you have no control over. Like, what is it actually going to stop from happening? Excuse me.
Ethical system is the deference that you...
Right, what is the ethical system going to stop from happening? Just because you believe in an ethical system doesn't save you. Like, what are you talking about, man?
Instincts, these various things that you are attached to emotionally, those are gone, right? You say, no, I don't want to detach from these things. The very core things that ontologically make us human, I don't want to detach from. That is giving us great...
There it is. You got your second word. You already got the word teleology, and now you got the word ontology here in the discussion where it serves no purpose whatsoever. He's just throwing those terms in there to seem smart, seem like he's this big philosopher coming through. Oh, being and purpose and... Dude, it's literally just a word, right? None of these things are actual, like you haven't fleshed out that any of these things have to do with ontology or teleology. You just simply with your fucking bumper sticker philosophy. Come on, man. This guy's a Trump tard.
Evidence here that the Christian ethical system is the deference that you use in order to make these claims in society at all. You're deferring to my worldview, never me yours.
But I've already said I like 80% of your worldview. I just said it's the 20% that's going to make us evolve and grow.
All right, what's the 20% you don't like?
I like being a human being. I just think it's time to not necessarily have to eat every night to survive, or not necessarily have to, die of cancer. There are things we can upgrade. And I also want to get off planet. Let's get to the Star Trek.
But wait a second. It's the idea that these are not violations of Christian ethics. What is this 20% of Christian ethics that you don't like? If we had technology that would make it so that you didn't have to eat, so what? You think, how would that violate Christian ethics? Look, what do you mean?
I just told you, you have this idea that God gives us purpose, but I actually don't believe in God. Therefore, I don't see that purpose. And this is that 20% that I'm missing. And it's not, like I said, I've not invited him to my life. I just don't see it. And because I don't see it, maybe I'm like Thomas putting the finger through the, Jesus' hand. I don't see it. And as long as I don't see it, I'm going to continue with my own methodology, which creates my own purpose.
Yeah, but you're not just continuing with your own methodology. You're creating prescriptions for humanity, in this case, the United States, and making the bold claim that transhumanism is a much better future for people than Christianity. And yet, any time I look at the way in which you can transcend humanity, you seem to defer right back to the Christian ethic of not doing that. So it seems like the bumpers that Christians put on society with responsible technology and not attempting to play God, not attempting to move into this arena.
Yeah, the delusion that Wilson faces here is that he thinks that that the harms of technology won't necessarily have to be collectivized if you just belong to a community that has ethical bumpers on the situation. Right, so he thinks that the Amish and all of these people, Mennonites and stuff, that they don't have to avoid, modern, society or deal with the implications of modern life just because they live in a village, when the implications are literally international, right? They deal with the effects of new technologies all the time, right? So just because, right, he thinks that, we don't necessarily have to collectivize the harms of technology, right? When there's lots of harms, right, that you may not be able to control that reach your Christian community, even though it doesn't want to accept the use of greater forms of technology, right? This is the dumbest thing, right? And then Zoltan thinks that, the benefits of technology, that they'll be there for personal use. It's just going to be if you want to go do something with transhumanism, and that's all that matters, that none of this stuff is going to be collectivized. It's just going to proliferate your individual happiness. And no, technology is imposed on people, right? It's not just about freedom, and you know what I mean. So this is the problem that both of them are having, right? Either thinking you can avoid or selectively, adopt, certain technologies, right? Both of them are wrong in their assumptions of that. Technology is imposed on us, right? I mean, it's a simple answer. This is why both of them are living in a totally delusional world.
Of transcending our humanity. First of all, I just want to let you know, within my worldview, it's not even possible, right? It's not even a logical possibility. I don't even think immortality is a logical possibility from my worldview. So from your worldview, I understand that it is, and I'm trying to contend with that, right? But to me, it's not even logically possible. And when we're talking about prescriptions, especially here in the United States, right, the idea of, moving towards just the axiom of immortality is not helpful prescriptively to any of the social institutions, any of the family institutions you love so much, any of the prescriptive institutions that you like so much. So what is it that you're giving us here?
Video content creation is broken. And
yeah, what do you see? What is he giving us, right? But what is Wilson giving us as a solution against it? I mean, other than saying like, well, it's not logical that a certain sliver of the population believe in immortality and try to achieve that purpose, right? I mean,
Christianity holding you back from? You can be a transhumanist. Who's saying you can't? Who's saying that you can't? You can go right now and like do all sorts of experiments on your own brain and try to find the elixir of life. Nobody cares. No one's trying to stop you. What is Christianity even holding you back from here?
Listen, there are plenty of Christian transhumanists out there, just so your audience knows. Look, we think that 20% that we came to is what's really important. That's how somebody like myself and the species itself.
Did you hear him? He said there's lots of Christian transhumanists. So it's the second time he said that. So Andrew does not deny that that's possible, even though he said, well, that's totally illogical to support transhumanism. But then the guy says, well, there's Christian transhumanists twice now. And he's going to say, well, wait, you can't be a Christian and a transhumanist. That's false.
Continues to evolve into something different. And we agree that sometimes when you deviate, that 20% can fail. That 20% can lead you to some terrible things.
20%? What 20%?
But that 20% also lifts us up. That's lifted us
up
from the Enlightenment, from the Dark Ages, from all these other things. We need to evolve off that. We always need to have that opening. And unfortunately, in your worldview.
So look at that. He said he's 80% in agreement with Christianity, but 20% he's not in agreement with. But he said that 20% also lifts us up, which I don't know what that means. And Wilson keeps asking him, what 20%? Right, meaning what 20% of Christianity do you disagree with? Do you find not beneficial? Right, because he's already said it's the West is based on Judeo-Christian values, right? And he finds that those are beneficial. He'd rather live next to a Christian than anyone else. The transhumanist said this, right? Okay, now he said he's 80% in agreement with Christianity, and Wilson's asking him, well, what's the 20% you disagree with it? Well, I mean, if he believes in immortality and all these things, it should be pretty easy for you to understand what he disagrees with about Christianity. Right? Isn't the whole purpose of Christianity is to die and be of this world? Right? And, be one with the Christ? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how are you not evading that great purpose or end, or that teleological end, right, by trying to achieve immortality and live in this world forever? It doesn't make any fucking sense, man. Like, so it'd be obvious that Christianity would be antithetical to transhumanism. By well over 90% at this point.
There can be no opening like that. We need to be able to do crazy, wild things as a species in order to evolve.
Like
and that's
what?
where I come in.
What are these crazy things we need to do as a species that violate the supposed 20% of Christianity that you are just demanding society has? What are they? What?
Men having babies. Something I know you don't like. But let's go for it. Why can't we do that? But it's not just that. It's why can't we get to the Star Wars era where people have tails? I have a third eye in the back of my head. I have two heads. I mean, whatever it is to be functional from a materialistic point of view on planet Earth and beyond, Those are the things transhumanism wants to do. I don't want to die. So that's going to be my main priority. How can I reverse aging?
Yeah, let's start with this. Let's start with the idea of men having children, right? Let's just explore this potential future, right? I don't grant that it's even.
And let me just say, I would be one of those men that would like to do it in the future as well.
Got it. You want to be a man who.
That's gross, man. Like, I bet his like male butt babies would look like Milo Yiannopoulos. Honestly, I mean, that's what I predict. But yeah,
as children, I understand. But let us actually explore this. Do you agree with me that men, on average, are much stronger than women are biologically?
Yes, and they shouldn't be in the women men shouldn't be in women's sports as well. So let me just say that. So we're on the same page.
I'm not even going there yet. I just want to try to explore this concept a little bit. So because of that, men generally are the dominant force in society. They usually have to be, because the strength which is required in order to govern the laws of society and the force which is necessary in order to maintain order comes primarily from men, whether it's military, law enforcement, things like this. Now, you could maybe equalize that with technology. I'm not saying you can't. We'll just leave that for a different conversation. But let us assume for a moment that men could actually have children.
Hey, Meta, film this.
what? So old-timey black setup here. It's like Motown, Barry Gordy's Motown, but it's like with AI shit, with Ray-Ban Meta. Like, all right. Like, don't you know, see, they're always trying to say that technology is going to help us proliferate some old style of culture when it's wiping it out. I mean, these commercials are such a scam, right?
That we could, and then we had to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Motown was part of a simpler time. That's all there is to it. You can't have it again because the world has changed. Right? You're not going to have soul music because the world ain't got no soul anymore. It's just bullshit, man.
Sophisticated. I'm guessing if we had sophisticated enough technology to grow wombs inside of men and they could have kids, that we would have very sophisticated sex robots as well. Can you tell me what the fuck we would need women for anymore?
Why do you keep asking why we need them? We want them just because we love them.
Why would we want them? For what?
Because they're wonderful.
What's wonderful about them?
We have mammalian instincts. We're going to love as many people.
Yeah, thank you, man. Like, his whole thing is like, we need women just to procreate. Like, dude, women are for more than procreation, Andrew. Like, what the fuck? Like, you sound like a gay homosexual, man. Like, all the time, right? Like, women are just fun to talk to, just to hang out with. Animals are fun. Animals need to be preserved because they're great. There's many things that deserve to be preserved that don't offer us any benefit. All right, like what it's stupid, man. Stupidity, man.
Million instincts. Hang on. If men could have children themselves,
you're a complete functionalist. I feel like in the deep and
I'm not a complete functionalist. I'm pointing this out. This is a very important truth. In China, they had a one-child policy. Which child was the one that was most likely to die? The male or the female?
Yeah, I know.
It was the female, right? The reason is because the idea of, if you could choose, this is a great social experiment for the human condition, isn't it? The idea here is, if you could choose between the stronger sex, who appears to at least be more rational, has less likely to have emotional breakdowns, they're actually just easier to deal with ultimately, and you get more use out of them. And when you move into the selfish nature of humanity, that often is the case, they have to choose between men and women, they choose men. And that's exactly what they did inside of China. It was so bad, in fact, that the extermination protocol was so bad that you ended up with such a lopsided condition of men versus women, they actually ended up having to stop the program because it crippled their birth rates. But here, right, if we were pointing this out, if men could have their own children and you didn't need women for that, and you could have sex robots for our carnal need, why wouldn't that just actually lead to the extinction of the female sex? There's no good reason. Can you give me a single reason why it would be that men would want to have women if they're, I mean, absent what? Some emotional connection? They don't need to have sex with them. They don't need to reproduce with them. They don't need to do anything with them. Why wouldn't women just become second-class citizens?
No, just because we like them, we get along with them. And you have to understand, like, I don't actually even
Most
see
of the
a
world
lot
we
of this
don't.
male-female stuff. You keep, wanting to designate.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment by Zoltan. Yeah, I don't think, like, just because women don't provide any function or, that they would just be removed, right? It's just like, what kind of thinking is that? Especially from a Christian standpoint, right? Don't you have a moral duty to preserve women, right? So I don't know, wouldn't there be Christians who think that despite them having no fun? I mean, it's just like, I don't know, what is he actually saying, right? Just because something serves no function, it would just be wiped out. And like, yeah, I mean, it is an interesting, like just what is he proposing? Like,
something. But listen, Andrew, if you had a baby, you had a womb inside you, and you gave birth, I wouldn't necessarily designate you as like a female or male, or you can't have friends with females because they're not functional. Listen,
I'm not making
I would just
any such
respect your decision to want to have this child on your own for whatever reasons. And you could still be part of a family. You might just do it because your body loves to do it. I think it's fantastic.
But when we're talking about social dynamics, which you seem to be.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the guy's trolling him with this. All right, he's clearly trolling him. Like, there's no way he's like, all right, yeah, man, we need to have butt babies like pronto. Like there's no reason from a Christian standpoint why it couldn't happen. Like, what? Is he literally just trolling this Christian guy? It was weird.
Leaving out of this, which is very strange because you have a compelling writing style when you explore characters. I know that you understand human social interactions and how they tend to operate. It is in fact the case that if men could find replication, a robot replication of a woman, which is down to the finest detail, a woman for all intents and purposes, physically, mentally, everything else like this, artificial, sure, right? But makes the sandwich, shuts the mouth, watches the TV, the man can have the kids. Why wouldn't that naturally lead towards males selecting for other males in their own birth form? What would be the incentive of men to select for females if they could give birth themselves?
What? Wait, what? That does not follow at all. That is a total non sequitur. That is literally a total non sequitur. If men don't need women that have sex or have babies, then they would just select for men and just turn gay. That's a huge leap of logic. I don't see that happening at all. Like, where? Like, what? How does that logically follow from the premise? Right. First of all, even if that were possible, there'd be a very small percentage of men that would actually use those means. Right. And it would probably be like the incels that exist today. Right. So I have no idea what he's talking about. Why would you want to fuck a thing instead of an actual female? Like, what? That makes zero sense.
What would be the incentive to do that? It would be like creating a less strong, less rational human being on purpose. Why would they do it?
Listen, this is where your framework would say no, not to do this because of the greater God thing that's out there. But transhumanists would say, listen, it's okay if all of a sudden maybe the female entity is not necessary. But the females are going to have their own situation, and they're going to say, now we don't need males. But this is the transhuman future, where people can make these individual choices based on liberty, based on their personal preferences as we move forward and see what we evolve into. And I just don't think we need to be so afraid of that. I'm not afraid of it at all. I think it could be wonderful. And listen, I'm a totally normal guy. I'm a heterosexual guy. I got a wife. I got 2 young daughters. I have a great family life. Everything's perfect. But I can see
what situation, Andrew asked? The situation that they could be fucked by robots and also impregnated by in vitro fertilization, so they don't need males. Right? I mean, What are you talking about, dude?
A 100 or 200 years, maybe something deviates. Maybe I try something completely new. I think that's okay to try something new. I think on planet Earth, as these very sophisticated human beings that might become transhuman entities, we can start looking out there and say, what's next? What can we do?
Yeah, listen, the reason I brought up social interactions is because when you're talking about power dynamics between humans, the reason that women are so valuable in society is because of what reasons, sir? What is the primary reason men lay down their lives? Why the women get the lifeboats first? What is the primary reason that women have any value in society? Not just here, by the way. We can look at the world where women are severely oppressed, and over half of it or more, right? Why do they even keep them around? Why do they even allow them anything? It's because they're revered only for one purpose, which is a reproductive purpose. And the problem with this is, like, you don't look at the sorts of entailments, the sorts of social entailments, which you can run into by allowing.
What the fuck am I watching? All right. All right.
Even if this were possible, which I don't even grant it is, but for the sake of the argument, I will. The entailment here would actually likely lead to there not being any more females because men would select for men. Why wouldn't they? They're way less maintenance. They're way easier to deal with, and they can reproduce heirs for you now. And on top of that, right, they're much stronger, meaning they're much more useful inside of a family dynamic. Your future does not look great.
Yeah, look, I get it, Andrew. I get it. I get what the problem is here. You're really stuck on the male and female. The transhuman future may not have male or female anymore, and it may be for the best. And I'm happy to endorse that idea to move beyond that. And this is why one of the things when it comes to transgenderism, things like that, transhumanists are just open arms. We just are way beyond that. Some human beings might want to become fish. They might want to become mini unicorns, mini dinosaurs, whatever it is. If we have liberty and we have this technology, then we may want to do those things. As long as it's not kind of offending the golden rule of hurting somebody else, then I think it's absolutely okay to move beyond
Can you show
male
me,
and females.
Can you show me where technology?
Well, actually, allowing people to do stuff like that, it is hurting people. So that does violate the golden rule. I don't know how it doesn't. You know,
Yeah,
without.
was the.
Yeah.
I was just listening. Sorry, I was just listening from YouTube for a second. And I was like,
Yeah.
This is the gayest shit I think I've ever heard in my life. Like, women have no utility other than reproduction. I mean, it's like, what the hell is this talking about?
Huh?
Like I understand I understand like the extreme argument he's trying to make, but it's like it's literally this is like Dada absurdist, like this is like absurdist territory now. It's like this is not even. And then it's like, well, maybe we'll just be miniature dinosaurs, or maybe we'll be this or that. It's like, wow, like
it's like
this is a real great sales. What a great sales pitch is like. You know, it's like I'm sure that there's plenty of people who are now going to, you know, choose the side of transhumanism all of a sudden.
Yeah, like the Dino Bros and
maybe this is like a Discordian anti-tech like LARP or something. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't see it because it seems like both of them are pro-tech. So, I mean, I would say that maybe it's an accelerationist pro-tech LARP.
right, yeah. Maybe that's it's definitely something that doesn't really. It's definitely not surface level. Like, I almost feel like these guys are laughing as they're saying these things because it's like. It's actually really bad arguments, which is very strange to me. It's almost like bad on purpose. So I'm like sitting here thinking like,
yeah, like did Homeboy just say, yeah, like did Homeboy just say he might want to become a unicorn? Like what the fuck? Like honestly, like all right, bro. Like
seems legit.
Like all right, bro. Like you do know, like people used to get knocked out for saying shit like that, right? Like what? It's like, honestly.
Where has technology assisted with liberty? By the way, I've heard this take from you multiple times. I heard it on InfoWars as well when you were being interviewed there. And, the question came up and you sidestepped it. You didn't actually answer to it, but so I went back and I did a little bit of a review. Everything that you brought up, from automobiles as being freedom machines and things like this. But of course, you didn't ever provide the counter, which is, well, automobiles in the state hands actually led to less freedom ultimately.
Did you hear that? Automobiles are quote unquote freedom machines. Oh yeah, because when you're cruising through in your radiated box and you can get pulled over anywhere, and when you're walking down the street, you can't even get pulled over and shit. Like, oh yeah, you're definitely a lot more free when you're in a car. Because you have to obey the traffic laws and the regulations and, the insurance and all that type of stuff. I mean, what is he talking about? Some fucking freedom machine.
The idea of the surveillance state led to less freedom, ultimately. The idea of having these mass tracking systems via digital computerization led to less freedoms with people's personal firearm ownership.
Yeah, I mean, well,
the interesting thing about his thing is, like, he's making almost no moral arguments. It's all pragmatic. All his arguments are pragmatic, but he's saying moral. So it's like, that's kind of why I call it Discordian, because it's like moral. And it's like every argument he makes is like pragmatic. So it's like, okay, it's like, I'm waiting for a moral argument. I honestly don't think I've heard one yet. So.
I mean, it's just dumb, because it's like, do you really think that they're not going to track who they sell firearms to? Because they have computers, right? Like the computers literally guarantee that it will be done. Like, this is the part that he doesn't get. Like, you have tools for gathering all this information. You're literally going to make ways of seeing who has a firearm. Like, you're literally going to use the computers to register people. Right, that's literally what computers are for. They're to register information, man. Right, so how's it not going to be used against you? Right, this is the part he doesn't get. He thinks magically we can decide what computers are used for, even though their purpose is to gather information. And they're like, what?
I mean, honestly, I think I'm going to write an article that is transhumanist and Christian, just for the sake of it, just to see, like, is it. Like, I'm going to see if I can make the strongest possible argument for it. And then, like, let's compare what I say compared to, like, what Andrew Wilson's saying. And, like, maybe there's something I'm missing, but I'm going to try to do that for real. We'll see if it works.
Right.
And I'll use AI to do it. Listen.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Let's use all the tools at our disposal.
Privacy for people. It's led to all sorts of horrible outcomes. Technology, in fact, has not led to increased freedom in human beings at all, not even a little bit. It led to decreased freedom for human beings. Every account that I can see.
Wow. What an amazing statement. He said technology in every instance has led to a decrease in human autonomy. It's sad that he couldn't admit that during our debate. Like, it's pretty sad. But yeah, he just literally said, well, every single type of technology has led to a decrease in human autonomy.
Right. So what are they really arguing over then? Right. So it's like, well, we don't have a choice. Really, all they're really saying is like, well, we don't have a choice, so we might as well enjoy it. I mean, that's basically what the whole thing they're saying comes down to, essentially.
He's using Uncle Teddy, but he can't use it because he thinks we control technology, and he said that right in his opening statement.
I guarantee you what they're trying to do is they're trying to rewrite Uncle Teddy to say, actually, Uncle Teddy was saying well, fuck it, we can't do shit about it. Listen, let's enjoy it. And Uncle Teddy actually said it might be fun, or something. I mean, it's like that's the level of absurdism I think they're kind of going towards at this moment. It's like a lot of this is kind of taking, and this is kind of the danger. This is kind of why I didn't write stuff down for a long time, because I think the danger, and this is the thing that we're doing with on the internet too, is they take the arguments that you have for or against, and they just use it against you, right? And I think that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah, but he said there's absolutely no sense in which a technological future is inevitable. We can curtail it, but it's also added to the benefit of human society. Like, he's all over the place, right? I mean, if you can control technology, then you don't have to worry about the loss of human autonomy. It's just so dumb. But yeah.
Leads to a decreased freedom. Now, you can offset this and you can say, wait a second, what about things like medical technology and stuff like this? Sure. If that was all the entailment was that, hey, we're going to get great medical technology and cure leukemia, I'd be all for that. But the thing that's interesting here is, like, in this particular case, all of these technologies you're talking about, can you tell me any of them that have led to more freedom for people? That where the entailment hasn't actually been more oppression for people? Because I can't think of any, actually.
It's really hard. This is kind of like me trying to understand your framework for God when I don't believe it. I just don't understand it. But listen, I can jump on a plane. I'm going to Kazakhstan to give a speech. I'm going to go be skiing. I mean, the point is, the freedom is crazy. It's all around us. We can do everything we want now well, not everything. Obviously, in 100 years, we can do a lot more. But we have so much more freedom. We don't die from a cavity anymore, which most people used to die from, or at least quite often. And now we have technologies to overcome this dictatorship of, let's just say, cavities. But it's just a sample, it's a metaphor.
Yeah, we're getting to the heart of the matter here. Does technology actually improve human existence? Is it a net benefit or a net loss? Let's get to the actual fucking question here. Watch Andrew totally drop the ball here, because he's a total technophile. All right. Like, yeah, he's going to agree that all these technologies have benefited our lives. Watch him do a 180.
For all the different types of things that we can do now. I can jump in a car right now and drive all the way up to wherever, or get on a plane, go surfing in Hawaii tomorrow morning. The freedoms are crazy. It's all over.
But you see, this is classic equivocation. You're mixing up ability with freedom. I agree that you now have the ability to travel to other places via technology, not the freedom to do so. The freedom to do that is granted by your government. Ultimately, that is where your freedom is coming from.
What? What? Oh my God. And how does government preserve its power? Yeah, right. Would it be through technological means? Right. I mean, what gives government its power, anyways? Yeah, right. I mean, it's just the stupidest fucking thing you could possibly say. Oh, your ability to do something is from technology, but your freedom to do it is because the government let you do it.
Yeah, Pill Eater's here. Welcome, Pill Eater. We're just talking about transhumanism versus Christianity and Zoltan versus Andrew Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. Zoltan's been around for some time. I remember
tell me about it.
I remember about a decade ago, he'd be on the Stark Truth. When Donald Trump was running for president, he would also make a bid and say, vote transhumanism. And one of his, paid actresses that supported the campaign was Rachel Haywire, who's now a side, character in the Dimes Square thing, the Republicans trying to turn liberals in New York operation. So there's a long, train of that. I remember even too when you had Brandon Adamson, who, he was the guy who invented alt-left. They were on a podcast together. This was, again, 2017, 9 years ago. And Adamson's like, listen, any left wing would want transhumanism, and it's going to be the alt-right to this realization you'll need it. So they already were, pushing full Zoltan many years ago. So I just think it comes full circle when it's like, okay, he's talking to Andrew, whatever,
Yeah, so far he's drawn this weird dichotomy between technology and the state. And I don't think he's been doing it that successfully.
Well, and I was going to ask Pill Eater, because you sent me something about this the other day. How do you think the Richard Wolff Haywood, Gerard, Thiel stuff comes into play with like the whole Christian
Right.
nationalism. Like, what's the intersection with that?
Okay, so remember, as I tell, Zoltan is very close to Rachel Haywire. Rachel Haywire, was published on Arctos 10 years ago by John Morgan, who works with Greg Johnson, who was on a podcast with Richard Spencer, Greg Johnson, John Morgan, and Rachel Haywire that existed in 2015. And, Haywire has moved back to New York and does her own things. And she tries to get her own, post-industrial transgressive culture that I've, been tapped to. I've worked closely with Haywire, and she's invited me multiple times, even months ago, but I can't. But Haywire has been very supportive of Zoltan and tried to push Zoltan into office. Now, where that's coming from is that Dime Square, the whole entire operation is trying to turn New York City liberals more sympathetic to Republican ideals. It's kind of like Carl Osby wrote in his classic book from the 70s, The Yankee and the Cowboy War, meaning that the elites are divided into two. There's the Sun Belt that represent Republican values and the Transatlantic that represents liberal values, whether that's like DuPont's and Carnegie's versus Vanderbilt's. And, so it's like, for the division seems like, they must hate each other. So there's definitely a civil war in the elite class, but they all work together at the end of the day. So if Richard Wolff, world famous American anti-capitalist, no, he's not like a sincere convicted communist. He's still teaching classes at Parsons, the New School, with his son and his wife. And he's like foretelling everyone, listen, college is over. It's going to be bought out by one conglomerate. And the interesting part about Wolff is that he says, this isn't about hating white people. This isn't hating about socialism, even if it's nationalist. Donald Trump is justified. These are things but, the problem is you have to get your priorities straight and make sure that transforming capitalism should be the goal. And so it's just like how, the same people who attend a Richard Wolff lecture are the same people who go to Haas's American Communist Party. Haas and Jackson Hinkle are trying to say that communism is based, and that if you're not a communist, you must be a diva. You worship Hitler, you're a diva. And, so therefore, being a strong man and following orders makes you masculine, and therefore that makes you, you have to. So that's why a lot of liberals hate Haas and Jackson Hinkle, is that they are basically pretending to be pagan nationalists, but subverting the message to say, vote communist or believe in socialism or national socialism without genocide or the strict totalitarian order. It's like base totalitarianism. And so whether this is from the Wolf fanatics, Patrick Casey and Haas in the same room doing cocaine together, this has to be one big managerial tradition of, Sneeko wearing a bow tie and Empath Chan having a purse, having their nice end of the year blowout party to celebrate who made the best psyops. So I think Zoltan has always been kind of like a Gary Johnson figure. And Gary Johnson being the libertarian president candidate, meaning that he doesn't have a shot of winning, but he's represents one faction of the elite that knows what's coming. Kind of like when Andrew Yang tells us, be prepared for universal basic income. This is what Zoltanis is saying. Be prepared when, or not Zoltanis, Zoltan is saying, be prepared when we have the technology to live forever or to cure people.
Right. Right. So he's basically selling this to leftists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is what you're saying is that it's a way to get the New York liberals to support the right wing stuff, right? So
right.
it's like
in a very cryptic way, right?
Yeah, interesting. Yep.
So it's like
I
this.
could see that.
If you're trans and you're a man who wants to be a woman, you should vote Zoltan because I'll make the technology happen. And in fact, if there's a man that wants to have superhuman powers. Well, everybody wins in the equation if you're trans or whatnot, or transracialism, because everybody will have the power to become what they want. So you kind of do this weird intellectual jujitsu where it looks like it's liberal on the conclusion, but it has a face value of being right wing or something.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
that's
weird.
that's what Wilson's doing too, but like almost from another angle. So yeah, so it totally makes sense like why they would talk to each other, because Wilson just used the argument that in a transhumanist future, because you could like have sex with robots, right? And then then you could just have a womb implanted in you, so you could just have babies, right? So he said in a transhumanist future you wouldn't need women, right? What use would women be? It's like
it's
this
even
weird
scary that Sam Hyde during his Drexel comedy skit joked and said, what we're going to do with all the gay people is we're going to give them artificial wombs so they become women, and when they have gay sex you'll have a kid.
Yep.
And it's like, even that sounds like a joke. That's actually what they're thinking about.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing, to be a little 3 steps ahead. Let's say that happened. Would gay people do that, or would we lose the meaning of gay sex and not being responsible, having children? And then you have to say, what is this really about? Decadent hedonism, or, this kind of self-destructive, accelerating thirst for annihilation, George Bataille kind of suicide.
I think it would be more the former than the latter, for sure. But I do see the latter having some like influence in this whole scenario, the Bataille stuff. But yeah, I think there would be a very small sliver of gays who actually opt for it, right? So the moral panic about it is actually very strange, right? But yeah. Because like you said, like within the gay community, there'd be like a sliver of people who think that, yeah, then gay sex would lose its meaning or whatever.
To do any of those things. Air traffic control, for instance, whose hands is that in? Whose hands is most of the airports in, with TSA and other things like this? Whose tracking software is utilizing all of that? You're mixing up and equivocating. You're saying ability and freedom, which are 2 completely different things. I'm not negating that you...
No, they're not. No, they're not. It's just they're just simply just not 2 different things. Right? The government can give you the freedom to do things because they have the ability to do it. They're the same.
There's the ability there through technology for you to jump on an airplane and conceivably go wherever the hell you want, just like you could get on a horse and go wherever the hell you wanted or whatever, right? The ability to do those things. The technology itself, though, has not led to this ability being, in some way ingrained or non-curtailed or things like this. Your ability to travel seems to be granted to you. And the fact of the matter is you can be surveilled 24 hours, 7 days a week now through these technologies where they can curtail this ability immediately. They make a notation in a system, you're depersoned. You're depersoned, you're debanked, you're deplaned, your flight status is revoked, you have wrong think, you're out of the system.
But the technology allowed me to do it in the first place. Even if you're right, I agree with you. The government can stop us any day, and that presents a problem that I bet you and I both agree on. But the truth is that because we have this technology, we can do all these different types of things that were once unavailable to us. In my opinion, it's really kind of unimaginable that you would argue that technology has lessened our own personal freedoms. That seems pretty
crazy. Seems like again we're back to equivocation. In what ways has technology itself advanced freedom? It has not. It's advanced ability. Freedom is a philosophical concept. Freedom is a concept which is ingratiated in the philosophical and the spiritual and the ontology of man himself. It is not ingrained in any sort of technological jargon, babble.
Yeah, I had to actually give it to Wilson on this one because, yeah, he's right. Like, freedom is much more complex notion than just, you could just do shit because technology allows you to do a bunch of shit. Yeah, he needs more philosophical rigor in defining his conception of freedom. But also, there is no successful conception of freedom within a Christian context. God controls everything. He controls who goes to heaven, who goes to hell, who's sinful, who's not. One vessel made for salvation, one vessel made for destruction, right? The word free will does not appear in the New Testament, right? So I'm just wondering how, I mean, there's a problem there, right? I mean, a lot of Christians don't believe in free will, right? So so this whole concept of freedom, right, it doesn't actually exist for many, many centuries within Christian conceptions as well.
Or a material object. You are mixing up ability to do a thing, right, with the philosophical purview of a freedom to do a thing. It doesn't matter if you have the ability to get on a plane and leave. All that matters is whether or not you have the freedom to even do it to begin with, right? That is where you're mixing these two concepts up. And so what I want from you is for you to show me during the advancement of any of these technologies, how that philosophical concept has improved in people's lives, because it hasn't. You were just as free to get into a classic automobile as you are right now and drive under the same philosophical framework. If they had airplanes in 1840, you would have been just as free to get on those and go travel around as well. However, as technology and tracking software has increased, your freedoms to do those things has decreased drastically. So that's what I'm asking is like, how is that not the case? How is it not the case that your freedoms are drastically curtailed through this technological revolution?
Isn't that just totally false? Right? Because like, yeah, like you could get in a car back then and like technology is more advanced now, but it's mass produced, so more people have access to it. So I don't even think what he's saying necessarily even makes sense, right? Because more people have access to cars than they did back when you had a classic automobile, even though you had more freedom to drive with it.
And also, like, cars don't just like grow on car trees. Like, you have to go and work and be like enslaved to your job in order to go and pay for the car, or go to jail if you steal it and don't get, and you get caught, right? So
yeah,
like,
so
there's all the other
freedom,
entanglements that go with that too.
Right. So it's not really clear if it increased the ability of people to do shit. It's just a really weird sort of concept or sort of conceptual framing that he's sort of
Like you don't have like a right to the car either. Like not everybody in the world can just like get a car with no, everybody wants a brand new Lamborghini, but how many people can like, figure out the intellectual jujitsu to, go and like scam people out of money to afford one, right? So, and have all the connections. So again, it's just kind of weird, like freedom from, freedom to, liberty, like all these different terms are kind of getting, kind of whatever. And also like that, we're talking about the ability to move, but they're not even talking about like the ability to like be housed, right? Like before you could generally just go where no one lived and just build a house and live there. I mean, relative to now where you just can't do that essentially. So I don't know. It's just kind of a weird.
Yeah, it's like, he grants himself like universal rights and freedom. None of these things can be like our Christian conceptions. All right, like none of these things can be just granted within your worldview, right? Unless you're, unless you accept like some form of liberalism, you can't just accept like, oh yeah, we believe in freedom and universal rights and this shit. Like he said earlier in the debate, like, universal rights come from Judeo-Christianity. No, they don't.
Well, it's kind of interesting too because I think I forgot what I was going to say now. Shit.
Sorry, I was just a little busy at the moment. Just got up. Still in Busan.
AXA. All right, so but I was going to say, like, how do you think why do you think they're using transhumanism mixed with Christianity? Like, is that purely a political project that they're trying to sell, or?
Yeah, I think there's probably going to be a sect of Christianity that says, listen, the literal resurrection of Jesus was based on technology. We are rediscovering the technology so we can ascend to heaven. They'll probably mix it up like that for sure. It's no longer going to be metaphorical. It's going to say, walk on water, resurrection was real science fiction technology. We now have it. Time machine. This is pretty much like what Gene Wolfe was predicting in the Book of the New Sun. He basically argued that Jesus was Severian, an alien a million years in the future who came back in time to reset the divine foreknowledge into the golden age. And I mean, you have sects like Eric von Daniken, who believes aliens made Jesus possible. So again, transhumanism just fills in the holes where, you know, as Nietzsche says, humanity makes God now when they stop believing in God. And therefore it goes full circle back in. If God's not real, we'll make the singularity and we'll make God forcefully.
Right. And would you say that that's going to be like the TPUSA Scientology kind of shit, or do you think it's going to be more broad than that, like Mormonism? You know, like how broad do you think that's going to be of a movement? Do you think it's going to be like a small movement or a much larger
Well,
thing
first,
that's going to happen?
it's all about trickery. It's all about saying one thing for another. So, for example, it's all about saying, you know, if you're for trans people, you're for human rights, right? And it has nothing to do with creating singularity. Or it's like you say, socialism is about freedom. You're not really about abolishing capitalism. You just want freedom. This is basically the liberal mindset. Liberals try to veneer every hidden goal as one thing of another. You know, abortion is allowed because that's a human choice, right? They care more about the praxis of liberalism than the end game of antinatalism. And it turns out antinatalists and all these other themes support those causes and that's why you have the most vehement people supporting nihilistic, self-destructive, thirst for annihilation, kind of sex and death Bataille-esque theories.
Yeah, and that whole you know, like mortification of the flesh, like all that stuff. These are Gnostic conceptions or whatever, and even that God is alien. You know, they actually, I think it's Marcion of Sinope, you know, also believes something similar like that, right? That Jesus was a son of an alien god, you know, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty interesting, you know, that they've reverted to Gnosticism, as they say. Even.
Well, and I think that's what we're seeing the evidence of. If you look at James Lindsay and Marx and all this stuff, like all these different like bricks in the Freemasonic wall, like isn't that ultimately what they're trying to do? Is like they're trying to do incremental like change, right? Like the totalitarian tiptoe is David Icke says, right? I think Pillator dropped out, but it's like I think that's what they're doing. Is like they're doing this like very slow incremental, you know, historical, cultural, religious revisionism. I mean, it's kind of what 1984 is saying, right? It's like, you know, he who controls the past controls the present, you know, whatever. I can't remember the exact quote, but you get the idea, right? So, but Pillator is gone, right? I think I saw.
Yeah.
I can't really see the screen. Really
Yeah. Yeah, but
right.
the thing he said was absolutely
right.
right. Yeah, he's still overseas, but yeah, the thing he said is absolutely right. You know, they're trying to create a god outside of a god, you know, sort of situation. You know, they're looking for arcane philosophies and you know, religious sects in order to accomplish that. It'd be very interesting to note that like all these like sort of occult revival and the discovery of these Gnostic texts has happened in our modern era as well to sort of you know, spur that on.
Right. Well, it's kind of like how people keep saying like okay, let me ask you this, like the common trope of like the God of the Old Testament isn't the same as the God of the New Testament. Like I understand all the arguments for that, right? But it's also like isn't that a convenient way of like just basically saying like Christianity is not true or Islam's not true or what, you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's just a roundabout way of like, you know, let's undermine this thing and then like, okay, so what are you going to replace it with? It's like, well, you know, secular humanism, transhumanism, whatever. It's like, you know, it's like you just get this like here's the thing is like if you want to take all these belief systems down, it's like, well, what are you going to replace it with, right? I think that's kind of what I'm coming at it from is like, okay, so all these things are bad, all these things are wrong, all these things are a lie, but it's like, okay, you're going to replace it with like another lie and I don't know. I have two other thoughts. I want to complete, but I was like, well, I was just going to ask you, what do you think of that?
Yeah,
Is that
that is a huge
belief that God of the Old Testament was whatever, or is that just a new thing that came about because of Judaism?
Yeah, that's the thing that we're kind of looking at with that Pearson and Berger article, right, about the Christian Jewish Gnosticism, right? It would seem like there's inklings of Gnosticism within Judaism that's pre-Christian, right? So some of them had developed some sort of antinomian sects, right? It would seem like, right? But the fact is that you know, this was literally what Marcion said, right? So this was the belief of Marcion of Sinope, right? He said the God of the Old Testament is an evil God, and Jesus was sent in as an alien God, right? So he rejected the Old Testament and he accepted the New Testament, right? Now, from a neo-pagan standpoint, right, this has been elevated because Christianity, in this whole thing about the Son of God and the whole idea of this eternal sort of rebirth, and being reborn in the spirit, right, that this represents a sort of alchemical transformation, right? So I mean, they've obviously elevated this notion for clear reasons, right? Because the God of the New Testament is less physical, right? It could be a totally spiritual conception, that's beyond matter, and also you don't need the law. The main reason to reject the Old Testament, right, is because of the law, right? So a lot of these Gnostic or antinomian sects say, well, the main reason why we reject the Old Testament is because the law that God gave is the law for Jews, and it was given on behalf of transgressions. And the law of Jesus is the law of heaven. So if you just follow that law, you're in a way better position, right? So yeah, so that would be sort of the
Right. Well, and the two other things I wanted to add to that is, because Pillager's saying that it's like he's saying that it's political, right? And I guess the way I would say that is, well, it's political, but that doesn't mean that transhumanism or Malthusianism or all these other things aren't happening. But what I do think that means is like this is basically like playing offense, right? So this is like basically let's de-radicalize everybody, let's make them feel as if there's a debate going on about, what's the morality of transhumanism, what's this or that. But ultimately, you're not really debating about like how should we go about interrupting this process, or how should we go about getting political power, since that's the way that people with the beliefs of Andrew Wilson were in political power, allegedly, right? For example, right? Like then the political will would change for the average person because, well, that's what the boss said, so we do what the boss tells us to do, right? Like that would actually change the course of human history, right? Which is why they have a right-left paradigm, because if things aren't working in one direction, they just go to the other side and then they balance it out where people feel as if they're being heard, right? And I think that's kind of what they're doing in this scenario, where it's like, well, you have the liberals on one side and you have the conservatives on the other side, and so they're arguing about morality or this or that, but there's a reason why all the arguments are ultimately practical. And I think this is the reason. And Machine, I learned this from you, is like, and Phil Leader said it too. It's like, okay, so they want you to think about the end result, right? So they're both talking about the end results of these ideas, right? But they're not actually talking about how you get the end results. You see what I mean? Because I think that's the thing, is like,
right.
how we get there is much more important than what we're actually talking about. And I think that's kind of what they're hiding, essentially.
And again, I know that we said this a million times, but I think it's like very important to just keep hitting that point, because that explains like why is this such a giant production? Like, why is this so important that they do all this, right? And you know, why are they actors? Why are they doing these scripts? And I think that's the reason why. It's like you're so busy debating what, when, where, why, but you're not really debating like how exactly, right? And I think that's kind of I think that's very what do you call it, nihilistic. You know, it makes you kind of like nihilistic, right? Like, because you don't really feel that you really have any power to affect the situation.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like the movie references are weird. There's still an hour and a half left of this video. So we'll just get to it next time because I gotta go do my show. So it looked like we ran out of time, but
Yeah,
this
good.
whole series is pretty banging, honestly.
Yeah, and we'll get into it more, and send the links out for the show. Everybody jump over there.
Yeah,
Thank
let
you
me
for
throw this
everybody
in
who
the
did
back,
watch.
and then yeah, try to send this to Pill Eater too if you can,
Red, thank you for being,
if he's got time.
Red, thank you
So
for being here. Sorry to get to jump in earlier too, because I had too many phone calls and shit. So, but yeah, send me the stuff, and I'll go ahead and end it now so you can get rolling.